Let's get settled. Let's start our City Council Personnel Committee on July 14th. There's 3 items on the agenda. It's 7:33. Order number 18336, appointment of William Fowler to the Planning Board for a 5-year term to expire on February 2nd. So, Mr. Fowler, if you want to please come up to the wonderful round table. You can come up right this behind me. Which makes me nervous. How are you today?
Wonderful.
Good. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in today. Alrighty, so now we just kind of ask you little questions on who you are, what you're about. I believe you are kind of new to the area, correct?
What's that?
New to the area?
Yeah, we moved here last year.
Okay.
After I was fully retired, we moved closer to my wife's work.
Okay.
She works in Framingham, so we moved out this way.
And you were a city councilor in Waltham?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I'm glad I'm not doing it. No.
It is election season for us, so...
No, it was a great experience. I enjoyed my 6 years. When I first ran for office, I told people I would, if you elect me, I'll serve, and re-elect me, I'll serve 3 terms and go away.
Oh.
And I served 3 terms and I went away.
3 2-year terms?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Wow. So you're a man of your word.
You know, the timing was right too. I mean,
Okay.
it was, and I was very happy as it turned out because I left in January, COVID came out a few months later, and
Right. Perfect timing.
all hell broke loose, and I'm sure you know Zoom meetings are
Yeah.
a lot harder to do things, and so
That's great.
I was a little bit of luck on that one.
Sure.
So.
I will ask a million questions because that's what I do all day. So I will open it up to Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So what got you to run the first time? First city council?
Because I thought I could do better than some of the people that were serving at the time. No, it was a lot of the issues that I cared about I didn't think were being addressed as well as they should have been.
Sure. So why the planning board?
Why the planning board?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking for something, and my wife and I both took part in the mayor's, I forget, something academy, whatever, and I forget what the title was. And he said, you know, we're always looking for new people, and, you know, so I hope some of you will reach out and apply for things. So I went through the website, and the planning board had a vacancy. And I just thought, I'm not going to say I'm an expert because, you know, I don't think anyone really is, but it just seems something, not a high-stress position, but something where you can make a difference. On the council, I was on the Ordinance and Rules Committee where we did all the special permits for development. When I was at meeting with Trish, she asked me what the last project, the biggest project I did, and it was one of the last ones, was in my ward, a 500,000 square foot office and biotech building. And, you know, so I did big projects as well as you know, putting a telephone pole in a street.
Right.
So, I mean,
Right.
from one end to the other.
Sure.
But I missed knowing what was going on in the city, but I have no desire to knock on doors ever again. So this seemed like a nice fit.
No.
And
I love your honesty.
No, I mean, I love doing it.
No,
But-
I think we can all relate. Yeah, you don't have to explain it to us. Yeah, right. You're preaching to the choir on that one.
I have a lot of gray hair, as you can see, and was time for someone younger to jump in and
Sure.
take over.
I'm a little offended that you didn't point to me with that comment, being the chair, but we will move on from that. Anyone else would like to ask Councilor Landers?
I'd like to welcome you aboard. I know you'll be a real asset to the planning board, so
Thank you.
welcome. I grew up in Watertown, so I know Waltham well, so that's a tough city.
You can't afford to live in Watertown.
I guess not, yeah. Yeah. Well, I moved out 60 years ago. It wasn't that bad then. Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll just go straight around. Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would assume that it's the same since Waltham is a city, that the planning board in Waltham was also responsible for doing a recommendation on zoning changes. That's the way it is in Marlborough. So there is some pressure sometimes at the planning board, and the planning board also does subdivisions, which unfortunately we don't have as many as I think people would like to have approved anymore, but there've been a few, and they can be very controversial, so it's not going to be
No, I
as
understand.
easy as
But it's not the same as,
the pressure from an ordinance change. Yes,
no matter what you do, whatever your vote is on the council, half the people love you and half the people hate you. And
That's
And
true.
you do that 30 times on a Monday night, and
Yeah, but it might be that way with the planning board too, but at least you're not elected, so they can't threaten to not vote for you at the next election. But I do agree that you certainly have lots of resources that you're bringing as a member of the city council in Waltham, but it will be interesting. The planning board has a lot of work that they've been doing, and hopefully a lot of work going forward, and I'm sure that they'll be happy to have somebody willing to join their crew.
thank you.
Councilor Orr?
Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome. And William, is it, or is it Bill?
Bill.
Bill, hi, Bill. First, I commend you for your service to the fire department in Somerville. And secondly, you made a great choice moving to Marlborough, even though your wife works in Framingham, because we have very affordable tax rates and so forth. So good move. It probably was one of your reasonings, and Milden Ave's a nice area. Couple questions related to the planning board activity. In Marlborough, we don't have a planning agent, so a lot of it has to be through contracts and so forth. I just want to make you aware of that, but when decisions come, unfortunately, you won't have an agent to talk with, but I'm just curious how it was done where you were in Waltham, and did you have a planning agent while you were in Waltham?
Waltham has a planning department,
A planning department, okay.
but it was the Board of Survey and Planning, which is a board like all the others, that did most of that work. The planning department really didn't plan. When I say they didn't oversee the development at all, I guess is a better way to put it.
Once it was approved.
So it was the Board of Survey and Planning, it was called, that
Interesting.
gave all the recommendations to the council on different things.
Well, and from your resume, it's excellent. First of all, we have a Rotary Club here in Marlborough. I noticed you were in a Lions Club. We also have a Lions Club in Marlborough. I'm just being a little funny because I'm a Rotarian in Marlborough, but you're welcome to come to a meeting with me anytime you'd like if you're thinking about switching over to, I hope Mark's still not here. Mark Gibbs is a Lion.
He left. I know my wife did the couch to 5K that he won.
So,
ran.
well, and I'm sure you'll stay busy with one of the different clubs that do a lot for the community. But with that said, I think that gives you also a global view of challenges that you may face, because there's going to, as you said, you're going to make maybe 50 or 60% happy, or the other way around when it comes to votes. And That's why I'm impressed with your resume, because you've already got a sound background when it comes, it looks like, to decision-making. And obviously, you may be coaxed to decide one way or the other, but I'm hoping you will make the right decision to your review and background. So, especially, you worked in the fire department, so you know how government works.
Well, fire prevention may have been worse than the city council, if you want to know the truth.
I was a municipal employee myself, so I respect that as well. But thank you, Bill, and thank you for serving. I'm hoping you will get nominated. You have my vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Pullman.
Thank you, and I just want to commend you, Bill. I really appreciate someone who's given so much of their life to public service and moves to a new community, right, and continues to do that. I know Waltham's loss is Marlborough's gain, and we're very lucky to have you. And I know with all of the skill sets that you have, right, and the volunteering, wanting to do the local government academy, when I'm sure you already had such a background in government to begin with from the council and fire department in Somerville. So just thank you so much for, stepping up to serve, and looking forward to seeing what you do on the planning board.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? I just need a motion.
Motion to enthusiastically approve William Fowler to the planning board for 5 years.
Motion is on the table, and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? 3-0. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So the next step is that we'll go to full council, and the full council will vote. Okay? But
System doesn't change.
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does not. Thank you. Alrighty, next item on the agenda is order number 18337, the appointment of Marsha Waldman to the Cultural Council. Please and thank you.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good.
Good. Good. No need to be nervous. You're okay. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and why the Cultural Council.
Well, I taught in Northborough as an elementary school art teacher for 23 years, and I retired last June in 2020. And I feel like I have to qualify this. It was not because of COVID. I put in the November before that I was going to retire. And in 2019, I actually was granted a Cultural Council grant through Northborough. Every year I taught K through 5, and every year I did a special project with the 5th graders because they were moving on to middle school. And that year I did, a year-long program on Monet, and the Worcester Art Museum had a special exhibit of Monet's paintings, and so I wrote a Cultural Council grant to take them to see the exhibit. And so it was when I did that, I knew I was thinking about retiring within the next year, and I thought, when I went to the meeting where we were presented with the grants, I thought, this is something I'm going to put on my list of things to do when I retire.
Excellent.
So just seems like a perfect fit.
Right. That's great. I will open up to questions from the Personnel Committee. Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So honestly, anyone with experience for applying for grants is an asset to the city. So thank you very much for even considering to attend, because the money's out there if you know how to get it.
And that wasn't the only grant I had applied for over my career. I brought in African drumming and African art, and there were authors programs, and I did various grants. I had, mosaic artists come to the school. That was an Ed Foundation grant. So, and I had to teach myself how to do an inventory and a budget. Nobody taught me, so I'm comfortable, thinking about what things cost and how to allocate funds.
Great. That's excellent. Thank you.
I will open up to anyone in the council. Councilor Landers.
Just quickly, how long have you lived in Marlborough?
How long?
Yeah.
Since 2012.
I think we're lucky to have you.
Oh,
I
thank
hope you stay for a while. Just your resume, your teaching experience and different types of experience. And I think Marlborough's ready for someone like you.
Oh, thank you very much.
I really do. I say that with all sincerity.
I like it here in Marlborough.
It's unique. It's a great city. It really
Very
is.
nice.
And as you get to know it, you'll second what I'm saying. Okay, that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilor Froman.
Thank you, and I also just want to echo the comments of my colleagues. I'm very impressed with your resume, and as someone who was on the Cultural Council before, definitely great to see someone with your background be involved. And I'm curious, I know the council in Marlborough is trying to, not only do the grant applications as typical, but, host a grant ceremony to honor the awardees and hopefully become, more involved in connecting the arts in the community. And I was just curious what ideas you might have for the Cultural Council beyond the grant application process.
Well, I think, I know that last year there was a problem with dispersing the grant money, but that was because of COVID. So I think it would be really important to get it out there that these grants were available, especially to schools and other programs. It was really interesting at the grant ceremony to see who else got grants. It wasn't just, I think I was the only art teacher that year in the town, although other art teachers every year always apply for Cultural Council grants. But, there were fine artists, there was Audio Journal from Westboro got a grant. There was a group of girls who did Indian dancing, and somebody else there was some trail where he took photographs for a journal. So there, I think what I'd like to do is work on outreach to really make sure that those grants get out to a wide range of interests and programs, because it's important.
Absolutely, and to that point, I'll just note for everyone as well as a point of information, the Cultural Council is doing their community survey right now, trying to give outreach to the public about what would you like to see for the arts in Marlborough. So I'm sure if you come on board, you'll be able to be involved in that and get to influence some of the outreach since the grants did go down during the pandemic, especially from the schools, which typically do apply every year. So I'm glad that that's something that you're thinking about very strongly.
And I'm very comfortable with community. I recruited every year a very devoted group of parent volunteers, and I would put on art exhibits. And at a certain point, the fire department said we couldn't hang things all over the school anymore. But the last exhibit I had 300 people come to the exhibit. And it was phenomenal, and I would do this whole thing where I'd put up, I'd bring in the music department from the school, and I'd have kids going around with cameras, and, I'd make sure that everyone was involved. And so I like to do big community events and pull everybody, the resources, people are resources, and I like to pull them in.
Well, I'm excited to hear all about that and look forward to you bringing that energy to the other members of the council and moving forward.
Thank you.
Councilor Orr.
Thank you. I wanted to yield to Council Perlman first, knowing she's with the Cultural Council, but first I wanted to say you have a very impressive resume as well, and I think it's great that we bring an art teacher into the Cultural Council. I'm not for sure if there's other art teachers within it, but I think it's great. I think you'll add a lot to it, and hopefully you can get some of your neighbors involved too. It's great to see people that are new to our city coming in to help us. Might it be a planning member, a Cultural Council member. So thank you, and we'll have to chat sometime. I might know a person that you may know as well through the Northborough school system. So,
Okay.
But thank you. I look forward to seeing you on the Cultural Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve Marcia Waldman to the Cultural Council.
Thank you. It's been seconded. Any other further discussions on the motion? If not, all in favor? 3-0. It has been approved. So as I told Mr. Fowler, so the personnel approved, so go to the full council for their approval, and then you'll get notified on that, okay?
Yeah,
All righty.
thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. We
everybody.
appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. And lastly, but certainly not least, order number 18338, the reappointment of William Dunbar to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term, ending on February 2nd, 2024. Good evening. Bill. All righty. How are you today?
Very well, and you?
All righty, I'm doing well, thank you. So we are reappointing or you're interested in reappointment. So if you just want to tell us why the reappointment to the Conservation Committee. You seem like a great group down there. I can't see why you would not want to join. If you want to tell us a little highlights about the Conservation Commission, that would be great.
3 or 4 years ago, I was asked to participate with the committee, and I came in with a lot of enthusiasm and perhaps not enough education. The education has been wonderful. Priscilla has been great to work with. Ed and the committee have been extremely helpful. I've learned a lot about what goes on in the environment, and have only been bit by a tick once on my site visits. I enjoy the site visits. I like to be able to, when during a meeting, not just looking at plans, I like to look at the site itself, find out where the water comes and goes, what affects the neighbors and things. Tomorrow I'll be working with an intern. Priscilla's on vacation this week, so I'll be working with an intern, and that is always good to teach, but also to learn from the interns as well. Ask me some questions.
Yeah, no, there's just such a wealth of information from your commission members. You know,
Yes.
There's lots of years of experience there, so it's a great commission to be on.
Yep.
I will open up to Personnel Committee members. Any questions? Councilor Doucette?
Thank you very much. How many years did you say you were on the Conservation Commission?
I think it was either 17 or 18, 2017 or 18. I'm not sure. I looked at that as I was sitting over there and couldn't find it immediately.
Okay, well, what was your career before? Or I assume you're retired now?
Because I'm gray, is it? I'm a retired optician, but still work periodically. Dispensing glasses and contact lenses. I work for an ophthalmology group in Worcester
Okay,
when I work at this time.
yep, okay. So what got you into the Conservation Commission?
I grew up on Fort Meadow and spent most of my waking hours with fish and turtles and frogs, and biology was a favorite of mine in class, and which led me to my career. Prior to getting on the committee, I worked with Priscilla doing some things, and so when I was asked to sign up, I was eager to.
Great, okay. Thank you for your work and appreciate you coming in for another stint.
Thank you.
I will open up to full council. Council Landers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask this of everybody that's coming on the conservation. What is the likelihood we will ever have a walk-around at Lake Williams? Or would you vote, would you support that?
Dawn, you asked me that 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And
You change your mind yet?
And we have talked about it numerous times between now and then.
Yeah, but
If
that's
it
up on
wasn't-
Elm Street, that doesn't count.
If it wasn't for the state, I think that it would be a wonderful hike. I'm going to say Wakefield, Massachusetts was one of the places that I referenced in one of our conversations. They have a spot right off of 128, and it's a well-used, well-designed walkway. No matter what time of the day, what time of the year you're there, rain, snow, sleet, there are people utilizing the walkway.
You got the reservoirs in by BC. People have to realize that water, I think water, whether it's ocean, lake, pond, or what, it makes an area very attractive, very inviting.
So, and again, we have a trail that goes from Washington Park on the William Street, Lakeside Ave by the courthouse. We have a trail there that leads out beyond the spillway and almost over to 495, so it would be very, very simple and easy to connect if the state would allow us to put a walkway on the Route 20 side, the north side of the pond.
Has to happen.
I'd like it to, in our lifetime.
I'm going to vote for you anyway, so that's all right.
I was hoping so, Bill.
Any other questions? Council Orr.
Thank you. Bill, actually, it's not a question, it's just a thank you for all your years of service, and continue to keep all our precious resources protected with your commission and with Priscilla. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve William Dunbar to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term.
Motion has been seconded. Any other questions about the motion? If not, all in favor? It's 3-0. Thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. The motion on the table to adjourn has been seconded. Any other comments, questions, concerns? If not, all in favor of adjourning? Adjourned has been approved 3-0 at 7:59.